on? Welcome back to the Simple on Moto. We are going to continue tearing apart this XS500. We are going to start tearing apart the battery box and start working on removing all the wiring. As I've mentioned before, we're going to rewire this whole bike. So I want to break it down to bare frame and start from scratch. Let's get started on that. Junk out of here. All right, so I was able to get that tray out, and we've got our ground running to the starter from the starter solenoid. And then on the bottom of the tray, we had the regulator rectifier, which my plan is to replace. And that should be everything for the most part. So that's all out. Now I got to go and remove the main fuse box, because we're not going to be using that. We're going to be using a MotoGadget. So let's continue tearing this thing apart, and slowly but surely we'll get it going. Got it. So much more room for activities. Cool. So we're at the point where we can start pulling out the main loom. There was a couple wires connected between two halves. So we took care of those. And then once we get this main harness out, we can kind of start going at a couple smaller parts that we need to get the teardown going. So. That's 1/2. It's all gone. So these cables here are the more important ones. They run down to my stator. So we're gonna leave these ones alone. We have this other cable that I'll have to figure out what that one's going. It's going to the right side of the case. So, cable in question is this one. And so, I'll look at a wiring schematic and just verify exactly what cable this is for. And then we have another set of cables for the brake switch for the rear brake. And then we don't have that much more that we need to do. The coils are still on, mounted to the bike. And then we have our ground cable going to the starter. So we'll reuse that. And I think that's everything. And then we can pull the rear half of this bike apart, pull the exhaust, and get the motor pulled. But I think before then, I might clean up This section, I believe I want to remove this bracket here because the plan is to make a tray underneath the seat, and then we can kind of touch up a couple of the modifications previous people have done and make sure this is all gonna work out. So we're getting there. But yeah, no, there's not much more to do regarding the teardown, so we're getting there. It's been this whole process has been a big jump towards the finish goal. So cool. Alright, so in this video we're able to get all the wiring, or majority of the wiring, out of the bike. Yeah, we got the main loop out, we got all the electrical components off. There's a couple, I still got the turn signals on, the rear tail light on. So I think we're at a good point right here to call this one. So I appreciate you guys tuning in and kind of seeing the process out. Thank you for watching and have yourself a good day. Thank you.